moving on, and just think you haven't had to go outside, but I hope you have gone outside, as soon as the skies are clear. I hope you get to go out and see this stuff. Streakers, planets, sun, moon, little tip. Put on your shades. Go out and look at moon. Now, sometimes moon's out during the day. Sometimes it's out during the night. You're going to see some things a little better with sunglasses than you are with your naked eye. Get some binoculars, and you're really cheating, okay? Because it wasn't until about 400 years ago that we started getting telescopes and stuff. Now we're naked eye. And we're out here looking, and you see a streak. Now, sometimes there are just streaks in the sky, right? So they can be quick streaks. Maybe they look like they come from Gemini, or Gemini, the Geminids. But they don't always necessarily. Some streaks kind of look like they come from Orion, Orionids. What are they? Are they stars? Are they shooting? You know how big a star is. We're going to see what they are in chapter 9. Okay. And you can depend on them. They come the same day every year. Why is that? So you don't know. You don't know. And some things, like a comet, will be there. And there was just one Neowise. You can look that up. Really cool pictures from NASA. Comet Neo, Neowise. Neowise, really cool. And what you find is that this streaker would move in one day and night, would rise in the east and set in the west, right? Move with the stars. But you would see it change position quite a bit. It wouldn't streak so much. You'll notice that it kind of looks like a star, except it's got this long hair on it. Kind of like me from not getting a haircut from COVID. So, what do you call it? You call it a long-haired star. What's the Greek word? It comes from the same word as comb. Hair in Greek. Comet. Long-haired. Anyway, chapter 9. Well, what did you think of it? You're out there with your campfire. What do you think of it? Bad luck. It's got to be. It's always bad luck, right? You got to blame it on something. It's always bad. Could be bad luck. Streakers. We'll find out what those are. They show up and then they're not there. They don't show up very often. You go, wow. It's made up, just like the stories, right? But you're wondering, and that's okay. Concluding that your story is right, then you're getting into some dicey territory. All right, that's all I'm going to say about streakers for now. Chapter 9, hang in there. And we'll find out what those things are. For now, people did wonder about them. They write about them, etc. We're going to go to planets. Wandering dots. Gods. Do a couple of videos on this, short videos, and you'll have a sense of what these are about. Let me show you some pictures. We can go over here and talk about it. And remember, this is the beginning of our wanderings, but it goes way back. We'll talk about that in a moment, too. I like it on the screen, I think. Let's try that. Orion, the Winter Triangle, Sirius, Procyon, little dog, Winter Triangle. Anyway. Okay, now you can see that with your naked eye, but sometimes there are dots out there that are really, now you got to know, okay, well, Sirius is really bright. Those ones that I showed you, Aldebaran is really bright. Arcturus is really bright. Sometimes you mistake it for a planet. So you have to find ways, and the good old phone app is good for that. But a planet, remember, now let's cheat a little bit. Remember, stars are how far away? Light years. And these are just the close stars in our galaxy, right? This is the ones close to us. But much closer. AUs. AUs, 1 light year is about 63,000 AUs. 1,500 times farther away than Pluto. About. I'm just rounding it off. Planets of our solar system. you'll see them. Sometimes you'll see they're at night. Sometimes they do this funny backwards. I'll show it to you. Now this is month to month, though. You're not going to see this in one night. They're not going to be a streaker. They're not going to go like that, right? Got to look week to week, month to month, and you'll see this goes from August to April. Wait a minute. I'm running backwards in time. Am I? No. I think that's right. That's 2007. How else do I know that I'm not running backwards? Why did I just jump to that conclusion? Oh, because I know that I'm going to face south. Eat sandwich. Remember that. You're going to see that planets generally, not in one night, and I'll show you what that means, but they will change position to the eastward compared with the stars, keeping the stars there. Of course, in every night they'll move. It will change eastward, but occasionally westward in this backward retrograde motion, and then back to eastward in this direct motion. That's what we mean. We'll talk about that here. We also find that they only go through certain regions. You can cut up the sky however you want. We'll talk about that in chapter 2. You can name that region or make whatever region and any patterns you want, but we might as well be consistent. Again, you're looking south, eat sandwich, moving week to week or month to month, you're going to see this, and then eastward, and then changing relative to the stars westward, and then eastward, direct motion, retrograde motion, direct. Let's talk about that a little more slowly. And yeah, you can see this all over the place. Okay, so what you got? Just get to know it. What did they see? These are just, folks sitting around the campfire, checking things out. What did they see? Why did I leave this region up? We're going to see. Let's come over here. Let me make a quick list, and I'll highlight the meaning. And then you get a cool thing tie into the weeks. Let's see. How's that? I'll come back. All right, you've got this in your book. Okay, so you hear it. I walk you through it, you read it, take notes, you review it, and know what was a planet to our ancestors, our cousins around the globe, looking up. They'd all see the same thing. They just might make up different stories or conclusions, but with honesty, you go, I don't know, and you wonder, and then you keep exploring. So you go, planet, these are the ones in our solar system. Now we know, as of 1996 and beyond, that there are planets around other stars, but we know this, and we're cheating, right? So ancestors didn't know. They just knew they were wandering dots. Maybe they're gods. What are they? I don't know. It's crazy. How come the stars stay in the same patterns next to each other, but these dots get to move? What's up with that? That's powerful, literally, right? Pagans, thinking that these are gods, right? And the early Romans. And then planet is the Greek word for wanderer. So when you say a planet, you're saying a wanderer. What do you mean by a wanderer? Here's what you mean by a wanderer. Each planet is sometimes, by the way, out during the day. So daytime, there could be planets out there. I'll tell you kind of where to look. Your phone, there's an app called Planets. It's a good one. Lots of free phone apps. And it'll tell you where the planets are, day or night. But at nighttime, you'll be able to spot it. So sometimes, and it's not a calendar. Like I can't say Mars will be out every August. No, it changes. There's a lot of motions going on, which makes it tricky. Sometimes it'll be out during the day, sometimes it'll be out at night. On any one day and night cycle, any one 24-hour period, each planet will move, it'll rise and set with the stars, with very slight motion that you won't pick up with your eyes. And the next day it will have a slight change, but you probably, unless you can really, I don't know, it's pretty hard to see. But the next week, couple weeks, few weeks, you start really, we're all artists, right, by nature. We may not be trained, we may not draw very well, but it's part of us as humans, and we draw those dots, and the better you draw them, the more you figure out. You figure out how much they move, and you gotta try to figure out what's going on. What is that? What is that thing? But they each rise and set with the fixed stars, as it were. But again, sometimes out in the daytime, sometimes out at night. So it's a tricky puzzle. And the more you keep track of it and pass it on, the more you got that. So in that one night, they'll pretty much stay next to the same stars, but they will change very slowly, very slightly. Okay. Let's talk about this in a second. So let's go over here. Let me reinforce that. Okay, so again, you can connect these and name these and make up whatever stories. You know, a lot of these regions, well, let me leave that to then. So what do I mean? Let me throw up a star. No, it's not a star, right? Why? Because the stars are fixed. Are they fixed in one place? No, they're fixed next to each other. They will rise somewhere, not directly east, but the whole sky will come up. If I'm facing south, eat sandwich, up and over. Year after year, the patterns stay the same. Well, year after year, up to a point, they will change. You're looking for 1,000 years, and you see changes, you know, and you keep track of it. We've got records that go way back, right? So, and you might see a dot at night, let's say, here. Okay, there's my thing. Like, wow, that's really bright. You might confuse it, but it could be, they're pretty bright, pretty bright. But that planet will have risen with Taurus, and it will move over through the sky. And in one night, you won't see it change very much. You won't say, that's a wanderer. You might say, oh yeah, that's pretty bright. And you might say stars twinkle and planets don't. Maybe you'll notice that, maybe you won't. I don't know. Kind of a reason. But. So that's what I mean. The planets will move with the stars in any one night. But if you watch week after week, like I showed you in the pictures, the position of the planet, I'll show you in a second, as I showed you, week after week, month after month, the planets usually move to more eastward or east, left in the star field. It doesn't happen in one night. Remember that, right? Rises and sets, but week after week, month after month, it's going to go kind of shift its position. What stars is next? We call it direct motion. It's kind of, I don't know, some best term, but direct, usual motion, you'd call it even. But sometimes, for months, it'll be going the other way for some months. And what's happening with that? Well, obviously, it's bad luck. I mean, Mercury goes in retrograde a lot, and people always they do this whole thing, Mercury's in retrograde. Oh yeah, I'm feeling, but I mean, look, to figure out, to know, you've got to look carefully. Keep track of moods and things like that. You'll find it has to do with things like eating and other stressors of life, right? So anyway, I mean, I would be open to it if you could show it, but there's lots of evidence. You see what happens is these wanderers, these dots move and change position. What's interesting is that they only ever are seen or wander through one strip of stars, a particular strip of stars. The Greeks called it the zodiac, and they broke it up a certain way. And it goes back to Babylon too. So if you want to, but look at other cultures, they're going to have the same drawings. You could just cut it up and name it different things. The circle, like zoology, like zoo, animals, circle of animals, although you get a cast of characters in there, right? So they only go through one strip, and I'm going to talk about that. And the other interesting thing here is, and we'll get to this, it's the same strip of stars, and everyone would notice this. Everyone noticed this. They didn't talk to each other. You just look. Look long enough, right? Got nothing better to do. It's the same strip of stars that sun and moon wander through. But sun and moon are never seen in retrograde. Something different. In fact, sun, moon, and what we call planets were called the seven planets. talk about that in a minute. Why 7? Let's take a look. What do I mean? Okay. Yeah, that's good. So, in one night, there's my planet. What do you need? I don't know. So you know that's my planet. It's gonna be hard to draw. That's okay. It'll rise and set with Taurus. And I don't know, maybe a month later or whatever time, who knows, whatever planet it is, different for different planets. There's a lot to keep track of here, but it's going to move this way. And notice that way is east. Not in one night. You're not going to see it. It's not a streaker. It's going to go over there after the course of time. You go, hey, it's over next to the horns of the bull. It's getting up above the head of the bull. Notice that that's east. It's going to eastern stars. So what kind of motion is that? Direct motion. It's going to come up over here. Direct motion, heading east. Never through Orion. If it goes through Orion, it's not a planet, or we got major problems. And it heads up again, months to get over here. But always through this, strip of stars. Yes, it'll go through Gemini. Yes, it'll go through Taurus. Because that's part of that strip that everybody saw, and different peoples around the globe called them different things, but they knew, they drew the pictures. They didn't call them the zodiac, right? These were known by the Babylonians. Very interesting culture. Do you even know where it is? Why don't we get taught this? I'm not blaming you, but check it out. We're talking about 4,000 years ago. Where? What country? Right? Iraq, right in that area. Right? I mean, they did amazing things. This is 4,000 years ago, and they tracked this stuff, and a lot of this stuff goes way back there. Why don't we learn about them? Why don't we learn about what's going on in Baghdad and all that wonderful stuff, and the connection and the moving and the, going to different places in Egypt. I mean, lots of stories and different stories. So it's not just Taurus the bull. It doesn't have to be a bull. Whatever. It could be anything. What do you want it to be? It's a V. I don't know. Make up your own story. Nonetheless, they do this. But then occasionally they do this. They go, woo, after the course of weeks and months, right? Heads back. You go, what's going on? What is happening? This is retrograde, retro. This is direct. And of course the answer is it's bad luck. It must be bad luck. Oh no. Don't do this, don't do that, don't invest. Oh man, don't let this guide you. But then, sure enough, it goes like this. So this is going to be a puzzle. Over through there. This is going to be a huge puzzle that we'll need to solve. Luckily we won't, because it took thousands of years and many folks died. What else you got? I don't know, moon. Moon's going to be over here. More lit than that. We'll get into that. There we go. Connect those dots. You're going to learn how to do that. What else is in this strip? Sun. Sun is found over here. And it will change. Night after night, sun moves a little bit. Day after day. It's going to shift over here a little bit. Moon, however, shifts quite a lot. And you might figure out why, but the next night, moon's going to be quite a bit over here. Quite a bit over there. In the course of one evening, if it's out at night, one full day, let's just say it's going to go about, if you put moon on one side here and see what stars are there, the next night it's going to kind of be a fist and maybe half a thumb or something over from those stars the next night. And now you're wondering, you're observing. And so we're doing this very fast, right? We don't have to go out there have lots of fire, we're cheating. But you're getting to know what people noticed and wondered about for a long, and you could understand why they couldn't solve the puzzle, right? A lot of folks, just the common person, maybe you'll notice, maybe you won't, but they did some amazing stuff. They were impressive, but they didn't have any technology to help them. So we're going to see that how we start figuring this out in chapter 2, then chapter 3, and what it all means in chapter 4. Then we'll start studying these planets and these worlds. What's going on with them? Can we go to them? What are they like compared with Earth? So that's what a planet is. It's a wanderer. And in one night, it just rises and sets and looks almost like a fixed star, bright, right? And then, but it might be out during the day. Over the course of months, you're going to see it has an eastward shift in direct motion, but occasionally it'll go in retrograde. And we can tell you when it's math. It's just charting it out on the computer, so you know that. But not only that, here, how many planets are bright enough, apparent magnitude low enough to see with the naked eye? You know the answer. If you know the weekdays, you know the answer. Should I keep going? Let me set it up. Let me pause, set it up, let you get a glass of water or something, and let's finish this off.